was a calm evening. The sky outside my window was slowly turning orange and pink, and the city was getting quieter. I had finished all my work for the day, washed the dishes, and now I had nothing urgent to do. The apartment felt peaceful. The clock on the wall ticked softly, and the warm light from the floor lamp made the room look cozy. I sat on the sofa and looked around. My books were on the shelf. A few candles stood on the table, and in the corner was my old CD player with a stack of music discs beside it. I thought about what I could do that evening. Reading a book felt too serious. Watching a movie seemed too noisy. Then I looked at the CD collection and smiled. Listening to music suddenly felt like the perfect idea. I stood up and walked to the shelf where all my CDs were kept. I hadn't played them in a long time. Most of the time I listened to music online, but there was something special about holding a real CD. The plastic case, the cover, the small booklet with song lyrics and photos. I started to go through them one by one. Some had colorful covers, others were simple black and white. Each CD had a story, a memory, a time in my life. The first one I picked up was a pop album from my school days. I smiled when I saw the cover. I remembered how I used to listen to that singer every morning before going to class, dancing around my room with a hairbrush in my hand. Then I found a rock album from my university years. It was scratched and a little faded. That one reminded me of long nights with friends, loud laughter, and cheap pizza. Next was a small collection of jazz songs I had bought when I first moved into this apartment. The soft melodies had filled the empty rooms while I unpacked my boxes. It was the soundtrack of a new beginning. As I looked through more CDs, I realized that each one was connected to a piece of my past. There was a classical music CD that I had received as a gift from my father. He had loved piano music and always said it helped him think clearly. Listening to that album always made me feel calm and close to him. There was also a CD with cheerful Latin songs that reminded me of a summer trip to Spain. I remembered walking through narrow streets, eating ice cream, and hearing street musicians play guitars in the evening. Every CD I touched brought back a moment, a place, a face, a feeling. It was like opening a box of memories that had been sleeping for years. I sat down on the floor, surrounded by all the cases, and felt a soft kind of nostalgia. So much had changed since those times, but the music was still there, unchanged, waiting for me to press play. I continued searching for something that matched my mood that evening. I didn't want anything too fast or too sad. I wanted something with emotion, but also peace. And then I saw it. A CD I hadn't played for years. The cover was dark blue with a silver logo of a band I used to love. It was their 1992 album, one of their best, full of beautiful melodies and honest lyrics. Just seeing the cover made me smile. I remembered how I had discovered that band in high school. I had borrowed the CD from a friend and listened to it so many times that I eventually bought my own copy. It was one of those albums that never grew old. I took the case in my hands, gently opened it and removed the shiny disc. It had a few tiny scratches, but it still looked beautiful in the warm light of the lamp. I turned on the CD player, placed the disc inside, and pressed play. There was a short silence, and then the soft guitar chords began. The first song started slowly. With a calm rhythm, I knew every note, every pause, every word. It felt like meeting an old friend again. The singer's voice filled the room, deep, warm, familiar. I closed my eyes and listened. It was as if the years between then and now had disappeared. I could almost see myself as a teenager again, lying on my bed, listening to that same song on repeat, dreaming about the future. I started to hum quietly, and soon I was singing softly along. My voice wasn't perfect, but When the second song began, I didn't even notice the time passing. The rhythm changed, faster, happier. The melody made me tap my fingers on the table. By the third song, I was fully lost in the music. The lyrics were simple but full of emotion. Each song told a story about love, youth, dreams, and time. Sometimes I sang along. Sometimes I just listened and smiled. The sound of the instruments, the guitars, drums, and soft piano filled every corner of the room. Between songs, there was a short pause, just enough time to breathe, to remember, to feel. Then another melody would start, and my heart would follow it again. I didn't even realize when I had started to dance a little. My body moved slowly with the rhythm, and I laughed quietly at myself. At some point, I looked at the window. The sky outside had grown darker, and a few stars had appeared. The city lights sparkled softly. The clock showed that more than an hour had passed, but I hadn't noticed. Music had carried me away completely, like a river that takes you along without you even trying. It felt like time had stopped. I wasn't in my apartment anymore. I was in all those moments that the songs reminded me of. My old bedroom, the noisy streets of my youth, the faces of people I hadn't seen in years. Every song seemed to hold a memory, and I let them all flow through me. Finally, the last song began. It was a slow one, the same song that had always been my favorite. It started with soft piano notes and a gentle voice. The lyrics spoke about growing up, about how time changes everything. But music remains. I felt a wave of emotion as I listened. It was bittersweet, happy, and sad at the same time. I sang the last chorus quietly, smiling. The final note faded, and then there was silence. I sat there for a few seconds, not moving. The silence after music always feels deeper, like the world is still echoing with the last sound. I looked around the room again. The lamp still glowed softly, and the air felt warm. My coffee cup was empty, and the pile of CDs still lay around me on the floor. I felt calm, not excited or sad, just peaceful. It was as if that album had reminded me who I was, who I had been, and how music had always been part of my life. I thought about how strange it is that a few sounds, some notes, a voice, a rhythm, can open so many memories and emotions. Maybe that's why people keep their old CDs, even in a digital age. They're not just objects. They're little time machines. I carefully put the disc back into its case. Then I gathered the other CDs and placed them neatly back on the shelf. Before turning off the light, I looked at the CD player once more. Its small display still showed double cock. Waiting for the next song, I smiled. Maybe tomorrow I would listen to another album. Maybe something from my university years, or something classical and quiet. I turned off the lamp, leaving the room in semi-darkness outside. The night was calm, and the faint sound of the city came through the window. I went to bed feeling content, with the last melody still playing softly in my mind. Music had filled the evening, and my heart felt full.